Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And so today, hopefully you all had a great Merry Christmas. I know it's been very difficult for a lot of people, as well as Happy Holidays of whatever you're celebrating. Um, so today we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984, or Wonder Woman 84 review. There will be spoilers. I have it in the title. So, yeah, spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it, please click out of the video because we are going to talk about spoilers. Um, because I'm reviewing the video. So, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you're out now. Otherwise, if you are, I'm going to assume you've seen the movie. So, with that being said, let's get to this. So, I just want to say this right now. Hats off to Patty Jenkins, the director of this movie. Hats off to her. This movie, I was hoping that this movie was going to be great. It was. But it left me literally wanting more out of this movie. So this was definitely a treat to see. I was lucky enough to go to AMC and see this movie, as they're the only theaters that are currently opened with 40% capacity, because that's New York State's legislations right now for movies. Currently in my county, you can't dine in, so I wasn't able to get any refreshments or anything. Not that that matters to me, because I wasn't gonna do that on Christmas Day anyways. Because I because I was spending time with my family before and then after the movie. So I got to see this movie at 1 o'clock. In between, I told everyone, I was like, look, I got to see this movie. I haven't seen any movie pretty much all year, with the exceptional theaters that I went to locally to kind of watch some old movies on the big screen. But this is like the first like new one since like ever now, it seems like. So I'm very happy. Guys, the movie if the movie theater is available near you to go see, and you're willing to go out of your house and wear a mask, obviously, because you should be wearing one by now, or a face shield, or a mask cover. I highly recommend seeing this movie. That's how good it was. Unless you have the HBO Max, but again, watching the movie theaters, it's a much better experience. I mean, that's how it should be. So, god damn. Let's get into this review. This was amazing. I mean, Oscar award-winning movie. I know there isn't that much competition this year because 2020 hasn't had that many movie releases, but that's how good it is. Okay, it's a phenomenal movie. I really hope this movie does good at the box office, even though obviously seats are not going to be that much available because of the limited capacity. But if you can go out and support this movie, please go support it. It's a really good movie, and you will not be disappointed in spending your money on this if you're available to. Do it. It's worth it. So Wonder Woman 84 started off, and again, this is continuing off of the first Wonder Woman movie, but it kind of see. I'm trying to kind of pinpoint on where this was. Obviously, it was in 1984, but obviously the first movie primarily took place in, World War II, which obviously led to the issues of the beginning part of the first movie, which was assumed to be present day, because that's kind of where the Justice League is at, from the Batman v Superman stuff. So this movie kind of doesn't touch on that because this movie is implied to be before the events of the first movie's first scene. But again, the DCEU is in flux, so who the frig knows at this point. But nonetheless, that's where this is at. So let's get into this. So the movie starts kind of back, when Wonder Woman, before she even leaves her, the Amazonians, as a kid, and she's basically training, and they're doing the race with the horse, and she's winning, but then she loses possession of the horse, so then she takes a shortcut, and basically they stop her from winning because, she basically, cheated, and they basically explained it to her. The Queen, her mom, confronts her about this, and, she's basically rushing to the stuff when she shouldn't be doing. So, they lead into the grounds with that. Then we go to 1984, which is Wonder Woman basically being a badass and basically taking out, thieves, basically, robbers, and they made this basically scene was to set up, her as a hero, and what she does, defending people and whatnot, and that's basically what she does here. She's, taking out the bank robbers. Indirectly, it goes into the plot of, it goes into the plot that they're going for, because the robbers that are robbing the bank, or not bank, it wasn't bank. No, it was a jewelry store. It was a jewelry store, I'm sorry. Jewelry store. They're basically robbing a jewelry store. And they are like, pointing the gun. They basically say, "Oh, I hear you got a side business. We won't say anything. Just let us have it, and no one gets hurt. Yada yada yada." And then they get out of there with some of the stuff, and the one dude drops the gun, and that leads to chaos and panic. And then the one guy basically holds a little girl for hostage, and threatens to throw her down. They're in a mall, pretty much. And so Wonder Woman knocks him out, and saves the girl, and basically fights them off. And eventually retrieves everything. There's an investigation. And they eventually get some of the stuff. Now Diana is like, an archaeologist. They go into this whole next scene with Barbara, who is introduced in this character. Well, actually, before that, obviously, Diana, is like still reminiscing after this whole, bank robbery or jewelry robbery. She has a date by herself, basically, but still, still thinking about Steve, basically, who is now dead, and, she's in love with him, basically, and so that's kind of, where she's at, still thinking about him. So then they introduce this new girl named, Barbara, who is, basically like a klutz. She's like a nerd, basically, and she was just hired like a week prior to that, and her boss didn't even know that she had hired her. So she had to explain that you hired me like a week ago, and so she's like clumsy. She isn't as strong. So they retrieve this Latin, I guess, stone. I think they call. I don't remember what they exactly call it, but it was a stone, basically, and it basically grants wishes, or one wish, per person, and You know, this is kind of the center of the plot. The plot is basically the villain was the stone. I mean, I know we'll get into who the actual villain is, but I mean, really, I mean, the stone is the villain, which is quite interesting. Yeah, the stone is the villain, like in this movie. But it basically goes into everyone's desires, I guess, in a way. It goes into people's desires, basically. So, I mean, that's kind of where it's at in terms of the whole, wish thing. So she's looking over it. Barbara's looking over it. Wonder Woman basically, wishes for Steve to be back. And not too long after that, Barbara, who has possession of it, she basically, is looking at it, and she wishes to basically be as strong as Wonder Woman. Well, she doesn't know that Diana is Wonder Woman. She just knows that she's strong and stuff like that, because they kind of had an interaction prior to this, they're, restaurant, eating together and stuff like that. Socializing basically, and talking about, friend that he lost and whatnot. And, so there was a setup for this. And so she basically wishes to have the strength of her. Of course, she didn't think she would actually get it. But, so, I mean, that was the wish, basically, was from the stone. So, then Wonder Woman basically, or Diana basically, what's the word? Diana the next day and Barbara are talking, and there's this, the guy who's like, he's basically the commercial guy. He's for oil or whatever, I guess. He's like a businessman, basically. And, yeah, Maxwell Lloyd. He's basically he's a businessman. He's this little, catchphrase type stuff, puns, and basically, and the Barbara knows who he is. He's an appealing guy, and she actually likes him. Where Diana doesn't have a television set, so she doesn't know who he is, and he's like, "Oh, I'll get you a television set," and so she's like, "Thank you, but I'm not really into that," type of stuff. So, she, basically, and I also should also mention, I forgot to mention this, but also there was a scene before the wish where Barbara was attacked by a guy who tried to basically assault her, but of course, that is, she's basically knocked out by Wonder Woman. So yeah, then what happens is now that she has this wish, she wants to be strong as her, and then we go into Barbara now is starting to notice that she's getting much stronger than she used to be. She ends up going to this gathering party that Maxwell invites her to, and she dresses up, and he basically pretends to love her, I guess, but in reality she kind of doesn't, or he kind of doesn't. He just wants the stone, basically, and so he basically takes the stone. He pretends and makes a fabricating story as they're making out. So there's that whole aspect. Once he gets possession of it, basically wishes that, because he's got this whole failed business thing going on. His investors are pulling out because he doesn't have any oil. He has a kid, so I'm assuming he was divorced because they said visitation rights and stuff. So we don't know who the kid's mom was. Not that that matters; it's not the importance of the story. But Maxwell has this kid, and he's basically trying to make his kid proud, but at the same time, he really is just really doing it for himself, really more. Because he just wants to be successful. So basically, that's where his line of thinking is. So he uses the wish from the stone to basically wish to be the stone, so that he can grant all the wishes. Basically. So that's basically what happens. Meanwhile, while this is all going on, Diana runs into a guy at the party who she runs into someone in the party who's not Steve, but Steve is in the body of this person that they show who the person is in the mirror and stuff like that and whatnot, but they show the guy in the mirror, but who the real guy is that Diana is seeing, but in reality, Diana doesn't see that guy. He sees Steve because it's Steve in the body. So, she's all happy because she has, her boyfriend and her lover back. So that's why she's happy, because he's there, and that's who she wanted, was him. So that's kind of where she's happy. Meanwhile, now this Maxwell guy, he's just basically now taking, going to investors. He starts slow. He's starting to get them to wish for this, and then the investor goes to jail because he duped him into a wish that basically benefits him. Eventually, it goes to the Middle East, basically, where they're he goes there, and he's getting successful oil stuff. He's gotten employees hired, to kind of take all the calls and investors and whatnot. And eventually he starts going to the Middle East country, and basically says, I wish to have this, my land, it was sacred soil. And he's like, your wish is granted. And then this is where it kind of gets bonkers for me, because he basically then says, oh, well, I gave all my oils to Saudi Arabia or whatever. But then Maxwell says, okay, well, then I'm going to take your security guard team, which to me doesn't make sense. I mean, this was clearly a sin, because, he never actually wished for that. Maxwell can't wish for it because he's only supposed to be able to grant one wish, which he already had his wish to be the guy. So how can he just magically take control of the guards? No one actually wished for that. So I mean, there were a lot of continuity issues with this wish thing, because they kind of wrote themselves in a corner with the wish thing, because there's only one wish, but yet there were kind of a lot of instances where it was wait a minute, can he do that? Because it's I thought he can only grant the wishes. He already had the wish himself, to be the stone. So like, how can he, just kind of make, wishes on the fly, and that this was one of the senses where it just was like, oh well, I'm just gonna take your guards. I'm gonna take control of your security team. So the security team basically helps him, with the escort. Um, Wonder Woman and Steve, they basically go there, and they basically fight him off. Um, and this is kind of where they notice that, like, she, starts losing, like, abilities. She starts losing abilities. Here, she starts getting weaker. They notice that she's starting to get weaker in this. Eventually, Maxwell gets away. He gets away, but, it was a really good fight scene. But, yeah, a lot of good stuff going on in there. And then, Maxwell starts making his way more to bigger, like, fish. He eventually makes an appointment with the president. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Steve, they, even the airplane, they did the airplane, the invisible scene where they kind of just vanishes while they're in there. He had to adjust to that, too. That was another really good thing that they did, and they kind of paid homage to the invisible plane scene. I thought was pretty cool. So they also kind of got back to the guy who basically tried to assault Barbara earlier in the movie, and she basically gets her revenge on him because now she realizes that she's, like, basically as strong as Wonder Woman. She just beats the shit out of him, almost kills him, and this is while she's, like, gone. Like she literally almost kills this dude. Like, easily could have. And the basically the homeless guy, which I don't really talk about the homeless guy, but, like, he comes in, like, he's like, what's going on with you? And, like, he kind of aids the guy who nearly died because she basically just wanted to beat the crap out of him for what he did or tried to do. So yeah, then we go into the president scene where Maxwell just basically talks to Ronald Reagan and convinces him to do this broadcasting system. And also, I just want to say, they really need. I don't have anything against the actor who portrayed Ronald Reagan, but they need a little. There's a little. The way Ronald Reagan looked just kind of looked really awkward. Like, it didn't look right. They tried, but it didn't come off to me as enough as a Ronald Reagan. Like, I've seen people kind of do Abraham Lincoln and and stuff like that. I just think the way Reagan looked was not really a really good representative of Ronald Reagan. That's a little nitpicking, but I just kind of cringed at it. I was like, it's whatever, it's just the president. It's not that important, but to the movie, obviously. But at the same time, it has a historical perspective because obviously it's 1984. Ronald Reagan, was the legitimate president at the time. So if you want that accuracy, you really should try to do a little better job at making him look accurate. They were kind of okay with with some of his mannerisms and stuff like that. He just didn't really look like him. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, again, like I said, it's not that important, I guess, because it's just it's not that important to the plot um, of the movie. But I was just kind of nitpicking on that. Um, so basically, you got what's it called? Uh, Basically Diana, she travels to the White House. By this point, it's kind of too late. Like, he already gets the wish from Reagan to get like stronger nuclear missiles that are better than the Soviet Union's, which is accurate to what was going on at the time in 1984. The Cold War. But at the same time, where they kind of again, is the Cold War stuff. They're not going to get everything accurate there because, again, they're going into a fictional, tale of a historical event. But basically, Maxwell, gets all the broadcasting systems. Ronald Reagan gives him unlimited access to do what he wants, basically, which should have been a red flag for the U.S. in itself. But again, this is a movie after all. So Wonder Woman fights off the Secret Service as well as Steve. They basically fight. They basically fight him off, and basically at the end of the fight, you get Barbara, who basically helps Maxwell escape. She's basically stronger than Wonder Woman because prior to this, which I didn't really mention, I should have, is that they met each other and they realized that the wishes basically have eventual consequences, and because of this, Wonder Woman's effect is she was losing her strength basically. Because of her wish for Steve to come back, and this is how Barbara found out that Diana is Wonder Woman. There's a plot issue with this because, again, I mean, the wish does have consequences, but Wonder Woman and Diana was basically not. She didn't wish to lose her power. She wished to be with Steve. Steve would be alive. So, again, I don't see how she would lose her abilities for this. But nonetheless, they go into this. Now, they go into a They go into Aradion, who her origins was basically that of she was like a legendary Amazonian warrior, who basically they kind of just show her face, so you can't really see who it is, and we'll get to that later. Because you all know where that's gonna go if you've watched the movie already. But basically, she's like a legendary warrior, and she wore this golden armor suit. And they basically say that which Wonder Woman has in her possession, and basically she has to use it. And then Steve, after the White House battle, he basically tells her that you gotta let me go. You have to recant your wish because that's the only way you can get your full strength back, so you can defeat her. Which she regretfully does. She has to let him go, and so she does, and she kisses him, and then after that she rescinds her wish. She then goes after him, goes after Maxwell, who's in the broadcasting thing. Prior to this, she has to fight off Barbara, who is now Cheetah. She has her, she has the Adoracian's golden suit on, and she basically takes her out. She basically says you have to rescind your wish, and she's like no, and then she's like well, and then this is what's gonna have to happen, and she defeats her, and then she goes to Maxwell. She eventually gets the lasso on him because he's basically granting wishes to everyone across the world, and it's having undying consequences that is hurting everybody. And she basically, with the lasso of truth, because lasso of truth not only forces you to not tell a lie and tell the truth, but it also can give you visions. He is resistant to all this, but she's actually not talking to him. She's talking to all the other people. But also, eventually, Maxwell then realizes, his son, is in danger. So then he rescinds the wish, and everything is basically then restored back to normal. Everyone rescinds their wish, and she basically saves the day. Maxwell has a heartwarming thing with his son. Basically, everything basically vanishes. Then after that, Wonder Woman then flies into the sky. She still kind of has like flashes of Steve, who's basically gone now, and she's still kind of upset about it because she said that she wasn't going to love again, and that kind of really isn't that true, because in Batman v Superman, one of the fewest things that they did that I liked really well was Wonder Woman had kind of a shit moment with Batman, Bruce Wayne, which I liked because I was a shipper of that ship in the original Justice League series. She does, if we're going to apply the original Wonder Woman movie, at the beginning of that movie is still canon to the DCEU, which was present day, then there's clearly, she clearly has gotten into more ships besides Steve by this point. But again, this is 1984, where she still hasn't accepted this. Then I think it's kind of ironic because there's actually a Christmas scene in this. Like, it's actually Christmas Day, and they do this whole thing with Diana, who basically, now sees the guy that was basically Steve in that guy's body, who basically likes the clothing that, Diana tried to have Scott wear, or not Scott, tried to have Steve wear at the beginning of the movie, when she wanted him to have different clothes on, when she was choosing clothes for him, basically. So she kind of liked that. So I don't know exactly where that's going to go, or if that's just kind of like, kind of just ironic, that, the person who was in, the person who actually owns that body that, Steve was in, basically had similar tastes to what Diana liked. So that could just be an ironic thing, or I don't know if it's going to be more of a serious role later on, but let's see. So everything is restored. And all is right. Like I said, Maxwell has a Heartwood thing with his kid. It's all cool, and everything is all back to normal. I don't know why he's not in jail for everything he did, because he basically caused all this. It's not like everyone can forget about it. So there was undying consequences, but nonetheless, that we're just going to ignore that, I guess. But nonetheless, I don't think they were specific on if Barbara rescinded her wish, though everyone did rescind their wish, but I don't know exactly if she did. I mean, I know he rescinded her wish, but her wish was made by herself before Maxwell took control of the stone, and his wish. So I don't know if she ever actually rescinded her wish. So that's going to be kind of a mystery, I think, because they never actually show it. They kind of show her at the end, but they don't show her not like weak again. So she didn't have her glasses on. So that's going to be a mystery in itself. Going into the third film, hopefully there is a third film for Wonder Woman, because, like I said, I wanted more by the end of this. And then we get to the ending cutscene, and I always stay for the credits no matter what. because I tell people I'm not going to be fooled when there's a cutscene and cutscene. So, the character Asteria, she basically was in the movie at the end, and it wasn't just the little face. They basically kind of zeroed in on her. They showed her, hitting a wood, saving somebody, and the girl, lady says, "Thank you for saving me." And then she turns around, and I honestly did not even think about it after the movie or during the movie, because I was just so amped by the movie itself and how great it was that I didn't even think about it at the end. And someone actually had to point it out to me after the movie was over of who it was, and I was like, oh yeah, that is her. I was like, oh shit. And I was thinking of this in hindsight. I was like, that's really freaking good. Linda Carter, aka the original live-action Wonder Woman from the TV series back in the 70s, is now playing Asteria, the Amazonian that basically owns the suit. She basically owns the suit, or she owns the suit that Wonder Woman wore in this movie, the golden suit that she wore in this movie. So I can only assume that she wants to either get that back or she's going to have a big part in the next movie. Hopefully there is a next movie. So definitely a good ending for a lot of the nostalgia fans of the television series. She's not playing Wonder Woman. She's playing a completely different character. I just want to put that out there. Some people are like, oh, is her Wonder Woman canon to the DCEU? No. I guess, if there's a multiverse, it could definitely cross over eventually, but it wouldn't make sense since the same person is playing a different character now. Because she's playing a completely different character in this content. But nonetheless, I think it's a great thing that they're doing it. They CGI'd her because obviously, she's 69 years old and she doesn't, it's a lot different than it was back in the 70s, So, the CGI obviously was really great to, kind of show her off, and play a different character. I mean, obviously it's not Wonder Woman, but, she is playing a character that's supposedly supposed to be stronger than Wonder Woman at this point in the timeline, I guess. So we'll see where that goes. I'm happy that they're doing that. I'm glad that Warner Brothers is kind of giving back to a lot of the classic actor guards. We're going to probably see, the Michael Keaton Batman coming back very soon too. So I'm glad that they're doing this. Even if it's not the same character that she played once, it's still pretty cool nonetheless. Overall, very, very good. I think it was a 9 out of 10 movie. I really do. I thought it was the fight scenes were amazing. A lot of stuff fit. I mean, obviously you're gonna have your botched plot holes that don't add up, but you have that in pretty much every movie. But the fights were just amazing. I was really wanting more by the end of the movie. I was just really happy and satisfied with it. I definitely probably would want to go see this again in the movie theaters. So yeah, in the contents, guys, absolutely groundbreaking movie. Definitely Oscars, even though it's not as much competition that had to go up against, but definitely Wonder Woman 84 kicked ass, and it is a movie I highly recommend going to see. Absolutely. Patty Jenkins did a wonderful job with this movie, and everyone else did a phenomenal job with this movie. And I'm very happy, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next one, whenever it comes out, because I definitely want to see more Wonder Woman now. Just keep that going, keep the Wonder Woman stuff going, because the Wonder Woman is very good, and crossovers. Hopefully, we get more crossovers with stuff in the future. But Very, very well done. Very, very happy for it. Can't wait to see it next. I'll definitely probably go see it again. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or my videos, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for all the latest contents, all that stuff. Neat stuff. I do have a Discord link in the description. Let me know what you guys think about the movie. And give me your thoughts about the movie and how good it was. And what you like about it. So that's it. I am the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Comment, rate, like, share. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku. Out of here. Peace.